It seems that a lot of the events that we're seeing right now are vibrational interference patterns into what would be a spiritually uplifting time with these changes magnetically in the sun. Interference waves are the fear-based interference in the regular wave pattern. You talk about the simulation and the hologram, but if it is all vibration and frequency, which I believe it is, you could have interference patterns coming in on that continuously, like a beat of a drum, another.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rex Bear, LeakProject, how the heck are you? Fantastic day today out here in Southern Colorado. It's getting chilly, but that's all right. We've got the fireplace. If things do get where they shut the power down, we've got plenty of firewood outside. I've got, all the essentials. And so does this guy right here, David DuByne. It's great to see you, man. It's been way too long. So David was sending me some vital information that we're going to share with you. And if you haven't subscribed to David's channel yet, make sure to do so. Adapt 2030. What's going on, man?
Well, I think we're all seeing it around the planet. In motion is the liquidation of our planet and the present way of life. So now start to put all these together as like variable A, variable C, do your own algorithm and start plugging in variables on that. Minus 50% for all of the major grain producers in the Southern Hemisphere. Take out the fertilizers, cut off the shipping routes, reduce Europe's grain, reduce America's grain. Canada's a basket case, reduce its grain also. And once you start to get the wider picture, they're going to have to start rationing food on the planet. But how do you bring it in and then get everybody onto a digital system to be able to show a digital rationing card? You're going to have to bring in central bank digital currencies, which means the economy would need to collapse in order to bring everybody into the digital, to have the apps on the phone so everybody would have it and be able to interact in society with it, because it would be two birds, one stone on that. And I know you've talked about central bank digital currencies. I know you have. So where do you think we sit on the CBDCs in the introduction? And how much would the economy need to collapse, Rex, before people would accept CBDCs as in order to transact, to be able to get something better than nothing? My family's starving. What would you do?
That's a great question. It's going to be subjective. Some people that have the means to take care of themselves will hold off for maybe years, but it would eventually probably lead back to that system unless you figure out a way to start a new religion or join the Amish or move somewhere that didn't have that type of civilization. You could be Survivor Man or Survivor Woman. That's how it's going to have to be if it gets to that point, unless there are alternatives. So if we're going to have a new digital currency system, will there be other digital currencies or cryptocurrencies that can compete? Will there be a way to, there's always going to be solid. I think there's always going to be some type of solid cash, but even today, most people don't use solid cash, right? Like, how much cash do you typically spend in reality compared to the rest of the money that you're spending? And overall, how much of that is cash? And then if you consider the patents that hasn't been talked about in a while, but it did get a lot of publicity when it first came out because of the number on it.
Did you know that the aging process starts as early as the age of 25? After that, you start to lose 1% of your collagen supply every year. By the time you're 45, you'll have lost 30% of your naturally produced collagen. Try this at-home test to see if you have enough collagen. Pinch your skin. If it immediately bounces back, then you have enough collagen in your skin. If it doesn't bounce back or fold back immediately, then you might need a collagen supplement. And make sure you pick one that has hydrolyzed collagen or collagen peptides. This ensures it'll be absorbed by your body. Multi-collagen helps rejuvenate your body from the inside out with 5 supercharged types of collagen your body needs for optimal health. And that's why thousands of Americans trust and use it every day. Taste, inspect, and judge multi-collagen risk-free. If it doesn't live up to your expectations, you have a full 60 days. You'll get a complete refund, no questions asked. Take 51% off your order, and you're also going to receive some free bonuses. Head over to healthwithadapt2030.com or click on that link in the description box below. And now on with the video.
0606.
I remember that Microsoft, right?
Yeah, A1, and it's WO 060606A1, and it wasn't a patent for, it's not a patent for a new television or a new pair of headphones or a new electrical system for a car. No, it's an electrical digital currency connected to a user that will have to have some form of medium that can still be added to or changed. It's not a one size fits all, a multitude of ways to interact with the user for that digital currency, and that person gets paid, or it has a way to read your thoughts somehow with body language or body temperature, or just the way that your body interacts, or what, your heartbeat, stuff like that. If it picks up on those things and it can link it to you not thinking the way you're supposed to, well, then it could dock your pay in a digital currency system or not pay you. It'd be like the Pavlov dog experiments. Is that were there Pavlov?
You're making me salivate right now.
Yeah. I mean, I am too, I mean, geez, I want to control the world through the digital currency, and I want to read everybody's mind. And if I'm going to dock their money, that would be the ultimate control. Talk about keep them fed. Keep the, oh, sure. Yeah. You know what? Because you're a part of this system, we can tell you care about society. We can tell you want to make a change. We can tell you want to make a difference. And you don't want to go back to that old society where people were hurting and people couldn't feed themselves, because you want to see everybody fed. You want to see everybody taken care of. So you join this digital currency, you put that chip in your hand, and you're a part of this system now. And we're going to give you a digital currency every month just because you decided to do that, to be a part of this digital new world order. Thank you so much. Credits in your name. Just continue to think the way you are, and you'll continue to be given credits.
What number letter is W in the alphabet?
It's like
23?
20. Well, is there 27 letters in the alphabet? Is there 27 in the alphabet? Is that right?
26?
Let me double check.
Yeah, W, because it'd be W, X, Y, Z. So -3 off of 26 would be 23. So even the W is one of those weird numbers of a 23.
Dude, I love that number. Does that mean I love the devil? Oh,
number 33, my friend. It should be 0303 will be the next patent. See, I have 10 fingers. I could put a digital chip under every one. I got 10 chances, and I got 2 arms, so I can just keep.
I gotta type this in. How many letters in the alphabet? We've got 26 letters. Okay.
Yeah, what's W as?
23, bro. Nice.
That's in the patent, along with 666 and 23. Come on, that was stamp of approval. Stamp of approval. Come on, they're masking the numbers. It's all in the numbers. It's all in the numbers.
Well, WO stands for world order also.
Well, it could be W0, like 23, as in 0.
I think in this case it's WO just because it's a world patent. It's under the World Patent Organization. So the WO itself would stand for world order. But the 23 is a fascinating number in and of itself. I wonder why there is, I want to study the ancient numerology and the Masonic thoughts of the number 23. Let's take a step back. This is, in my mind, okay. I'm thinking if in this live action role play here, if I was Dr. Evil and I wanted to usurp control of the people and dominate the world, I would clearly want everybody to be connected to a digital currency that I would have access to, that I could change and manipulate. But I would also want to control the food supply. I would want to control the water supply. I'd want to control the energy supply, the media. I'd want to control the communications. But if you control the food, that's clearly, people can put aside the internet if that's what they have to do to eat, that they got to eat. So some people, not everybody. So I'm thinking if there's a point now where they're getting really smart and they know how to change the weather to a certain extent, or they know about the weather changing because of the sun, combined with what they can do with the climate conditioning, then they could also purchase large farms and butcheries, etc., livestock, cattle, get into the farming industry and just usurp it up And then anybody outside of that would be considered competition. And when you have these corporations that have more money than a lot of nations, and seems like a lot more power than a lot of nations, then it's like monopoly. You're taking more control, you're usurping control. If they know about a cataclysm that's going to take place where people aren't going to be able to get food, but they want them to stay fed, wouldn't they do the opposite? Wouldn't they do everything they could to make as much fertilizer and food as possible while they could, until things get so bad that they just can't do it anymore? Does that make sense?
It does. I'll answer that in a second, but you forgot one integral. I think it's the most important thing that's forgotten here. They're trying to control your access to God and your divinity. You know, food and water and energy and that sort of thing, and controlling that, but to control access to God itself. That's one big thing, that spirituality and activation of different parts of our brain and different magnetic fields that we're approaching into is something that I think is overlooked in terms of the control mechanism to create so much fear that it might interfere. It seems that a lot of the events that we're seeing right now are vibrational interference patterns into what would be a spiritually uplifting time with these changes magnetically in the sun. Interference waves are the fear-based interference in the regular wave pattern. You know, you talk about the simulation and the hologram, but if it is all vibration and frequency, which I believe it is, you could have interference patterns coming in on that continuously, like a beat of a drum, another reverberating fear base and whatnot that comes in, whatever vibration that would interfere. So maybe one day you're spiritually uplifted, you're vibrating, you feel your heart chakras opening, something KP index is 6 and you're feeling, you know, the electromagnetic effects from the sun, you're walking out barefoot, and then something comes on the news, another global event, a possible nuclear, a possible this, and then that interference wave, bam, smashes that down. So the wild card is the uplifted spirituality and awakening of the human spirit, looking through the veil and seeing and the construct of reality itself in a different form and fashion during this time, perceiving the world around differently, because magnetically different parts of the lobes of your brain are interfacing with your senses. I think that is the biggest wild card, and by starving people, wars, etc. But the way that people, if you're going to control them, again, I'll come back. Are we being gaslit? Because, you know, if you take away the food, the centralized systems are going to fail anyway. You're going to have to plan your life for the centralized systems not working as functionally as they did before, or at least going to zero until things restructure. And who knows what happens with the planetary changes? Are we coming into, what kind of extremes are we going to experience? So again, would you come back and you tell the populace that, or would you just kick them out all on the street, put everybody on the same playing field, and whoever comes up with the best solutions lives? You're all on your own. There's no more delivery systems. You have to figure it out yourself. We're going to take away all the meat and all the water, and you're going to have to figure it out yourself. And good luck. If you do, you're going to live. Like medicines, for example. I know that people are going, what's he got on here? And if you allow me to interject for a second. So we have willow trees in the back and willow aspirin, right? So this is just simply vodka. Let me see if I can bring it in here. Okay, so notice the color difference in this. Has a nice light golden color. And then this one is a little more on the green tinge. This one that's in the smaller willow bark here, this one is from the stems of the willow bark. So I have a creek out there, and these things grow like weeds anyway. And you can make willow leaf tea as well for aspirin type of, you know, alleviation if you have a sore throat or something. This is just more for general pain relief. It is 100 proof vodka, and this one is Everclear. So all I'm doing is using alcohol to extract the constituents out of this. The willow stem is not nearly as strong as the willow bark. The problem is when you're going to start ripping bark off of a tree, you're going to kill that tree. But we have so many willow trees out here, they're actually a nuisance. You need to cut them down every single year. You need to rip them down. They grow so fast. Those things grow 6-8 foot a year. We had on the creek bed back there, I chainsawed down 5 or 6 of them last year because we wanted to clear. Our mower broke, so we never got back to clearing that. And then it started to overgrow, and we're like, all right, we'll just bush hog it. I got a guy coming by next week. We'll just bush hog it. Those stumps where we clean cut down to the ground have grown up not big trunk size, but they came up with all these shoots coming out, and they're taller than I am. They're, they're 7 foot tall. All of this willow bark stem and leaf, which is another type of tea for the throat. Not medical advice, but I'm just saying, if you go back through history, everybody's used willow consistently. So if I'm at the point of trying to create and look and experiment to do my own aspirin with alcohols and to extract out here, and I think I'm not ready yet, even if you didn't have the alcohol, you could still chew on that to relieve toothaches and those sort of things. Like lantana is a good one to stop bleeding. I mean, the way that we're going to have to be forced, and I would say forced into a more autonomous lifestyle is going to have every system ripped away from us until you become the Amish. And I think that's what these global planners are trying. Okay, they're going to rip all the systems away because they know that its current civilization can't be salvaged based on the cycles anyway. But are they gaslighting on the 500 whatever million people and they just can't come clean? I don't know. That question keeps rolling around in my head more and more as of late.
Well, it's interesting because if you study hermetics, if you study mysticism and you research demons and spirits and egregores and thought forms, etc., they will oftentimes look for a host that's at a low vibration to connect to, and then they'll feed off that host and live off of that host. And first of all, this is so simple, and I bring this up a lot, but the fact that we don't have a 432 hertz across the globe as far as a signature for recording music and audio and video, that should absolutely be the industry standard, in my opinion, because that is a harmonious frequency. But if you have a disharmonious frequency with lyrics, oftentimes that are designed to create, music, musicians are magicians. And why do you think that musicians used to be, especially 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, were like, there were alphabet agencies that wanted them to be kind of under their thumb, and certain songs and backtracking, all that kind of stuff, because so many people, you didn't have the internet to go out and watch videos and on YouTube and do the research on thousands of different websites. And you had, oh man, I'm waiting for that next album to come out. I mean, remember the 80s and the 90s? Holy shit, man. It was like, dude, I just got Faster Pussycat's new album. It's awesome. I just got Motley Crue's new album. It's awesome. You wait for that. But anyway, I'm kind of going off on a tangent here.
I have a tuning. I have a 432 story for you.
All right, let's go.
So I'm speaking at the event over in Nashville, and Riser House Records, shout out, had Coffee Anderson playing. And I rode up in the elevator with him. I was like, dude, sometimes when you strike those notes, it kind of hits me in the chakras. And I was like, man, I really like those last couple of musics. He had Mr. Red, White, and Blue and a few other ones. And he performed for us live there. And he says to me, yeah, I tuned mine at 432. You noticed the difference, didn't you? And Riser House Records seems to have a lot of their artists that are at 432, and they're pinging and they're hitting the chakras with the vocal notes and with the combination of vocal from the singer itself, but also with the tuned instrument down on that original tuning scale. So if you're looking for country music tuned at 432, you're going to want to look at Riser House Records, because they have a lot of their artists that ping that. And I tell you what, listening to several of them, they all had the same thing I can say in common, whether it was male voice, female voice singing. The combination of instrument and voice would hit you in the chakras, and you could feel it like wham, but it was all just like this most magical energy coming through. And there's definitely a difference in the tuning, and I'll leave it there.
Oh, there is. You can feel it. You can get a guitar, tune it to 440 and 432. You will immediately feel a difference. So how much do you, and remember, folks, you only see 0.01% of the electromagnetic light spectrum if you're lucky, and your brain filters out 50% of that approximately. So there's a lot that's going on around you that you don't see. And so if there are powers that be that can see this and harness this and use people as tools, use people, like most people think that, how do I put this? Most people don't think enough. How about that? Most people don't think enough. And by not thinking enough and not giving your environment enough credit, you will miss out on a huge portion of life and evolution, true evolution. Be the change you want to see by actually doing something instead of just sitting on the sidelines, because you were made for a reason. You're here for a reason, and you're watching this for a reason. So do something beneficial, do something positive. And what do you see the next? Do you think it's just going to keep being like slow boil, but faster slow boil? Or what do you see being like the next big event? Another volcano?
Super acceleration of everything to put whatever is in the plan next into play. Okay, that's on the thing that it's out of your control, pretty much. But what is under your control is, like Rex was just referring to, being the change. Like, what can you do to solve people's problems and help them get through this in a more comfortable lifestyle and enhance their lifestyles? See, that's where the win is going to be. It's going to be a win-win-win for you, for them, for society. If there's a way that you can provide your service, your mind, your skills, your whatever it is to help us collectively. Why do you think I spend the time? Why does Rex spend the time to do this? We're trying to put a message out to try to get more people to action, to try to use your skill set that you have currently to help humanity move through this. And if you can dial in that of giving information or doing whatever you do, maybe you're an herbalist, or maybe you're a welder, or maybe you're construction, or maybe you're a gardener, or maybe you can build greenhouses. There's like a million things. Maybe you can construct Tesla technology, magnetic motors. I don't know. But whatever you can do to help humanity move forward is going to be the most valuable thing that you can do. And that will be across the board. Why do you think these companies make billions of dollars every year? They're solving a problem. Now we're going to go down to the individual level and the community level and the town level, smaller communities of solving the problems. And there's always going to be value there. So if you think that, oh, I can't do this, I don't have a job, you can solve a problem. And that is the value that will then give you some sort of something coming back. Now that's something you can control. But in the interim of trying to weave through this, garden of weeds and thorns and flowers, the next big thing is to get everybody to a digital rationing card system and implement central bank digital currencies.
No, look at this. I mean, if there's a digital rationing card, whether it's a card itself, whether it's under your skin or with your phone.
On your phone, yeah.
They have what's called now a super GPS technology. It's accurate within 10 centimeters or 3.9 inches and doesn't rely on navigation satellite systems.
I wonder if that's implantable, where if you buy 50-pound bag of rice, that thing will be sewn in to the top of the bag. Because they have a lot of RFID chips right now in terms of global logistics and shipping, where they can track everything down to, they know exactly within a foot or two of where it is at the port, what ship it's on, Like they even have now, they've wired the science so good that an 18-wheeler full of, 5,000 boxes inside can just drive through a scanner, and they can scan every single box as that thing drives through and it's on its way, literally in seconds. That's how good the technology's gotten already. So imagine if they didn't remove the GPS and it synced with that. So if you bought your 50-pound bag of rice, you got your 100-pound bag of flour or whatever, and you start putting those things in the same place, like in your garage or, wherever in your closet, then suddenly, all those little dots will be in one area and it'll start to resonate like, ooh, that person's got a lot of stuff. So you have to wonder how far along they are on the tech to be able to track like bulk purchases of, yeah, they'll know that you bought it. Cause like you said, I use credit cards too. I use debit cards. Use of cash. I live near the Amish. I have to use cash. A lot of times I use cash if I go buy other things that I forgot my wallet. I still have some cash, leave some extra in the car. But that's one thing to track your actual purchase when you go into a point, a vendor, Visa, swipe that thing, MasterCard, whatever, Discover. That's one set of things. Okay, you bought this. But where did you put it afterward is kind of the disconnect, where they know that you have the item, but where does it go from there? How deeply synced is that system already? Are we 50 years behind? Because a lot of things that we're seeing in the public, and I know you've done a lot of programs on this, what we're seeing in the public is currently, how far behind in the tech do you think it is when we get to actually see it and we get to know what's out there in the real world, that it's now a thing of our world? What do you think? 30 years behind the tech?
I mean, the thing about technology is, though, we're going Ray Kurzweil style here, like the singularity. Look at the advancements of technologies just over the past 20 years versus the previous 200 years. So, let's say physical 30 years from now, maybe that would definitely be a number that I would look at. But I've heard everything from 30 to 50 years. I don't know. But this is interesting. I want to show you something. Speaking of technologies, this is gonna blow your minds, folks. Check this out. The world has been waiting for 6G technology, but according to Chinese scientists, it can end up affecting our brain cells.
And that's where truly what Rex said, this is where your own research comes in, because one size does not fit all in this equation. And that's the greatest thing, because if it did, it would be a disadvantage. But since it's going to be more of a custom solution for most households and most communities, this is the greatest opportunity in human history, right here, right now in front of you. Reframe it. You could go through in the terror and the fear and the scaredness and all these things. Oh, we're going to die. Or you can come at it in this way. I'm looking at it. It is the greatest opportunity in human history. And if you're able to help somebody solve a problem, you're going to be at the arrow tip of the forefront moving through these changes. So be the change you want to be. I think I'm copying Rex's words on that.
You took the words out of my mouth, dude. So I'll tell everybody else, keep being the change you want to see. Thanks, everybody.